So the ulna is a long bone that is found in the medial part of the forearm. So being a long bone, just like the radius, it also has a proximal end and a distal end, which is being held by my left hand there. The proximal end, as you can see, is much larger than the distal end of the ulna. So the ulna has the primary responsibility of forming the elbow joint with the humerus. And if we take a closer look at the proximal end here, we see that the proximal end has this U-shaped notch in it. That's called the trochlear notch. Now, I always like to think U as in ulna, so this notch kind of gives you the first letter of the bone name. So the trochlear notch attaches to the trochlea on the humerus. We see that there are two projections that come off of the trochlear notch. This superior projection over here is called the Olecranon process. It's also just called the Olecranon. And this is the part of the elbow that you can actually feel at the elbow joint. The other end of it is a much more pointed projection. That's called the coronoid process, and that fits into the coronoid fossa on the humerus. So if we turn it around and take a look at the distal end, we see that the distal end is much smaller in comparison to the proximal end. So this is where the ulna actually articulates with the rest of the wrist bones here. You'll see this small little point here. That's called the styloid process. The radius also has a styloid process, and the styloid process on both the ulna and the radius are anchoring points for ligaments that run to the wrist.